Cancel. All right, so we're good. We're gonna post this afterwards, like Nick said. Sunday market blitz every week. We hop on, just go through our analyses for the week. I posted in the TFT trade ideas group how some of the analysis played out from last week. Nick posted up in the Forex League group. So yeah, just if you guys are getting ready for the week, check out how we're looking at the charts. Nick's gonna be the one running through today because I'm stuck right now in the Tesla charging it. But yeah, see if we got any ideas that you guys agree with, and if you have any questions, hit us up. We're also doing the giveaway, so just post on your story, IG story, that you're on the Market Blitz, tag the funded trader, and tag Forex League, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna pass it over to Nick, and he's gonna get into it.
All right, let's do it. You guys ready? I just got to share here. And yeah, we're gonna get into it. Some analyses from last week definitely played out pretty well. DXY was literally following exactly, but we'll cover that in a second. Let me just, there we go.
Go ahead and share, and then try to make me the host again.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me just admit everybody else.
Yeah, because I think if you can share with me, or if you could share and then make me the host, I can let everybody in.
Okay. Yeah, I got you right here. Here we go.
Oh, cool. I think it kicked you off from sharing.
Yeah. Are you not able to enable it?
So I'm gonna make you the host again, and then you enable it so that anyone can shoot.
Okay.
Then you should be good. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, on mobile, I can't. It doesn't let me do anything. It's fucked.
Yeah. Very limited Zoom. All right, let's see. I enabled it. Let's see if it works. Wait. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, if not, you might
be
on. Oh yeah, we're good.
Very nice. All right, cool. Let's get into it, guys. Small technical difficulty, but we powered through it. We're good. All right, let's check out the news for this week. These are all the red folders. So there are some other smaller impact news events, but we just want to really focus on the red folders, especially for the first week of every month. Because guys, what's the first Friday of every month? NFP, right? You guys can see that down at the bottom. And before that, we do have some other major events. So let's just start from the top, right? Monday is clear. Sunday, we do have Governor Lowe speaks. Nothing really going to come from that. That's out of the Australian dollar. So let's look ahead towards Tuesday. This is where we're going to start picking up on some news. We got some GDP. So just the month over month report, and it's coming across as pretty, boring, which is good, right? There's not too much happening. The previous was 0.1. The forecasted is 0.1. The actual is 0.1. That's going to be pretty flat, right? So really keep an eye on that one. Probably not going to be too much coming out of the CAD, but this actual number is going to be what actually influences the market. So that's pretty early, 8:30 a.m. Okay, Eastern Standard. And then let's keep moving forward. We got GBP, NUSD, so consumer confidence, and Bank of England, Governor Bailey speaks. So might be some minor stuff there. Usually there's not too much that happens, or there's not too much impact on the market from just, from these guys speaking, or, just general reports. Usually there's not that much going on. It's really around the, the actual events like, GDP, NFP, PMI, unemployment. Those usually the higher impact events. Okay. These are usually really nothing much unless somebody drops a bomb, which Powell has done historically, but not as much as lately, right? Really the last couple of years. So we can keep moving through this. If you guys don't know what any of these are, pop open the folder, read a little bit on it, just get a little bit of insight as to what these reports actually are and how they could potentially impact the market. And then you could better make decisions as to, should I trade this? Is this really going to be, a high volume time where I shouldn't be trading, or are we okay to move forward? Right. So just pop open these folders if you don't know, and you can just read a little bit about it. So that's Tuesday. Let's keep going. We're on Wednesday now, and this is all USD news, right? So we have preliminary GDP. This is just for the quarter. So let's pop this open, right? Actual greater than forecasted is good for the currency. Released quarterly about 60 days after the quarter ends. Okay, so Previously, it was 2.6. We had a little bit of positivity because the forecast is 2.8. So the sentiment is overall that this is going to be a good report. So if this actual doesn't come in at 2.8 or better, it's probably going to have some impact where it's going to look pretty bearish for the dollar. And if it falls below that 2.8 mark. So just be aware of that on Wednesday, right? Early news. Might be all right through the rest of the day, but let's keep seeing. So we have the JOLTS job opening. What is this, right? Number of job openings during the reported month, excluding the farming industry. Okay, so actual greater than forecasted is good. So the previous was 10.7. The forecast is 10.3, so slightly worse. Okay, and this comes in, if this comes in actual below 10.3, it's going to be much worse. Right, so I'm kind of just showing you guys how to interpret the news, and based on what these actual numbers come in, you know, what's going to happen. Okay, and now we have, following all that up on Wednesday, we have Powell. Here he is. Powell's about to speak. And again, there's probably not going to be too much unless one of these, you know, are really crazy from the forecast, right? If something really bad happens, Powell will come in. He'll either simmer things down or he'll further fuel, you know, whatever these reports come in at. And that'll kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. Okay, so be aware of that. Wednesday, definitely filled. Let's keep moving here. Thursday, we got CHF, right? So the franc's coming in with some CPI data, and then some USD, some more USD news. So PMI, core price index, just month over month, right? Then AUD, we have Low speaking again, and then from New Zealand we have Governor Orr speaking. Okay, so those two probably not that much. These, however, could have some impact on Thursday. And we could also double check here, right, where the previous was 0.1. It's expecting for CPI to be on par. Core price index, it's expecting to be a little bit worse. Same with manufacturing PMI, a little bit worse. So that's kind of, you know, fuels the overall, you know, bearish dollar that we've been seeing anyway. So this is, you know, this could be good. We'll see. And then Friday's the big guy, right? Employment change, unemployment rate, average hourly earnings month over month, non-farm payroll, unemployment rate, right? So be aware, Friday, definitely going to be big news on that. Just be careful trading. And this is going to be all, you're going to see this all Friday. This is going to happen early. It's going to set the tone for us for the end of the week. I'll probably be out on Friday and then just pick it up, you know, next Monday. But yeah, definitely got some news this week, guys. So be aware of that. So we covered it. We know what to expect. We know we're aware of everything now. Let's bring it over to the charts and kind of break things down from a TA perspective, right? So now we can start off with DXY, and I'm going to take you guys through my method. I'm going to bring it up to the daily time frame, assess the overall trend, and then come down to the 4-hour and give you guys two scenarios. Okay, now we start off with DXY because DXY is really the powerhouse in the Forex market, right? It makes up for a large percentage of all trade, somewhere in the 80% mark, right? And whatever the dollar is doing, it's kind of, you know, affecting the rest of the market around it. So as we've seen, the dollar's been super bullish. We've been seeing the market kind of react to this bullishness coming out of the dollar, right? So it's good to be aware of what the dollar is doing. And we're not trading this, right? This is more or less used as an indicator. We just want to be aware of the overall trend, and then we can use that information on tradable pairs to just make better decisions, right? It's the simplest way I could put it. So let's just identify the overall trend here on the daily on DXY. We've been moving higher. We're seeing characteristics of a bullish trend, which are higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, so on and so on, up until our latest higher high, which is just around the, what is this, 114.7 area. Then we started flatlining a little bit, started pushing lower, and we finally broke a higher low, right, with this surge to the downside here. Right, when this dropped, we broke the higher low, and we started looking more bearish on the daily. So this was long overdue, in my opinion, because we sustained a bullish trend, very steady bullish trend since mid-February, right? And now we're finally just getting this change of trend now. So that's pretty crazy. That's pretty substantial, long time for this to play out. But here we are, right? So let's drop down, see what the 4-hour can tell us, and see if we can get a good idea as to where DXY is going this week, right? So here's the drop, right, down through 108.5, found ourselves at a new low. And now we've been consolidating a little bit. Price action bounced up, just formed structure here. So this was the pocket that we wanted to hit from last week's analysis. somewhere between 38.2 and 108.5. Okay, and we hit that pocket and then it continued downward, right? So now we're not quite at key support, which is 105.25. We're kind of resting just below this prior range, which is minor. Both of these are minor levels, right? So I really just want to see how price action is going to react now. Very likely that this could just push down into 105.25, and then we'll have to reanalyze, look for breaks or bounces from this area. But the other likely scenario is that just this doesn't react and it just pushes up, whether it resumes consolidation, it's not done yet, it could just flatline, or it pushes back up to 108.5. We'll see. Right now, this is closer to happening, and we've yet to break back above this zone, which is, the floor of this range. We've yet really to break back above. So this is closer to happening, right? Everything on this chart still suggests that we're going to push lower, that we're still overall bearish. This is just one other possibility that we're aware of. Okay. So this is, this is what we're looking at for this week. DXY is still overall bearish, but, we need to see a little bit more before we jump the gun and, confidently say, all right, the, dollar on the 4 hour is bearish for this week. We're shorting dollar, the dollar on all fronts. I did want to show you guys this real quick. This was the previous analysis from last week, and it brought us right to where we are now. I just thought it was interesting to show you guys, right? So we were expecting, that is not the right one. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so this was the original drop. We were consolidating. We were expecting it to pop up for structure and then continue back down. And it did perfectly, right? Pushed up, now came back down, and this is where we are now, where we're reanalyzing, waiting for reactions at 105.25. Okay, so they're pretty accurate. These are definitely good analyses to kind of use through the week and, better understand, what you're looking at. All right, so like with that in mind, let's move over to AU, which is going to be our first tradable pair. And we're going to follow the same exact method that we covered on DXY. We're going to zoom out, go to the daily time frame, and assess the overall trend, right? So strong characteristics of a bearish trend are what? Lower lows and lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. But, as of recently, we can see that this was our last lower high that was broken with this rally. So this is our first higher high, right? Since April, mid-April. So we've been bearish since April. We finally broke a lower high here. So now we're looking more bullish on AU daily. So notice the trend, guys. I mean, we're going to see a lot of recent trend changes on the higher time frame because that's what we've seen recently. We saw a large influx of volume the last couple of weeks, and these are, resulting in massive trend changes, right? Where we just covered the dollar trend change. Now we're covering AU going from bearish to bullish. So there's a lot of these, but we're going to cover all of them. So don't worry. All right, let's go to the 4 hour now. Looking newly bullish on AU. Let's see if we could spot anything clear for the week ahead. And here's the recent break once we broke 0.655. Nice rally right there. This was the higher high. Came back down, got the higher low. Now we're back at the high. All right, so this could be, the start of maybe a double top. Who's to say this isn't going to drop? We'll see. But we want to bring our eyes to 0.67, right? This is our key zone, kind of holding, recent price action, where it is, right? If it stays above this, we're generally bullish. If it's going to move below, we're going to look for, a drop down to 0.655, right? So right now we just opened up with a gap. It's looking closer to playing out with the secondary scenario. So we're going to look towards 0.67 for lower highs. Look for some sort of rejection to confirm this. Nice bearish variations, and you could catch a trade if it's convincing enough. You could take a trade down towards 0.655, and then you'll reanalyze at that point. Okay, now if that doesn't happen, let's say this pushes right back up, look for a rejection from 0.67 as support, and then you just need a couple good bullish variations to enter long on that, and then just continue with the overall trend, right? Because we are now newly bullish. There's nothing really on this chart suggesting bearishness yet. That's why we still need to see that lower high, right? So really just waiting on reactions at 0.67. We're close, but we still need to see a little bit more, right? And then I have this trade marked up here. This is just over a 3-to-1. We're looking to capture about 125 pips, risking in the 40 pip area. And this is just a mock-up. This is a general idea as to what the trade could look like. depending on where price action confirmation actually comes in, that's where your trade's gonna, lay out, or where your entry is actually gonna be. And then your stop loss will slightly vary. But generally, it should be somewhere in this area, right? Closer to 3-1, somewhere like that. My personal rule is I won't take a trade unless it's at least 2-1, meaning if I risk 1%, I need 2% back. Okay, for me, it's not worth it if it's anything less. It's not a 10 out of 10 trade. It's not a perfect scenario for what I'm looking at. Okay, so that's AU. Not bad. Just need just a little bit more. And then we could have something. But geez. Oh, man. Whoa. All right. So AJ just committed to bearish. We'll cover that in a second, though. Wow, that was pretty wild. All right, daily time frame first. Let's zoom out. Overall, what's the trend? AJ's clearly moving upward, so let's just follow it with bullish trend characteristics. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. We had a period of consolidation here. Then we rallied again, got to the higher high, came back down, went back right into consolidation. So overall, this is bullish, but guys, off the bat, you can see that there's clear support here, right at 91.5, clear resistance up here, right around 95.8 area. So we need to drop down. Overall, it is bullish though, but we need to drop down and take a closer look, see what's actually happening. All right, so here's the 4-hour. The 4-hour is looking more bearish, other than this consolidation, right? We came down, started forming lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Then it pushed back up and then just flatlined. So look at all this chop, guys. We've been pretty much consolidating since October, just bouncing between 94.75 and 93 support. So it went up, double top, came down, bounce, bounce, bounce. And then we've been getting tighter consolidation. So we're getting lower high after lower high after lower high. The volume's dying off, candles are getting smaller. So we really want to see this consolidation end, right? That's going to be the clearest way to get a trade out of this. And because we're right at 93.75, this is obviously our key zone. We need to look for reactions from this zone. So in, hour and a half ago when I did this analysis, I was looking for a rejection from 93.75 to consider this still bearish. And we were able to, potentially get into a trade, a bearish trade down towards 93 support, right? This would be really nice if this played out a little bit better. Obviously, though, with too much volume, guys, there's no entry there. Really open with a gap and then plummeted about, what is this, 60 pips? Just immediately in the last hour. Yeah, that's nuts. So can't really do too much with this right now, because that already played out, but this could happen, right? So let's say, actually, you know what? Let's do this. This kind of blew this analysis out of the water. So we're going to just do this on the fly. All right, so we're now at 93 support. How is this going to go? We need to look for reactions from 93 support. It's either going to bounce or break. So very simply, it's going to either do this. It's going to pull up right now, right off 93. It could do it slowly. It could do it fast. Obviously, the slower, way where this just flatlines now gives us some dojis and then starts showing some bullish variations. That would be the most ideal scenario. However, usually with a lot of volume, there's a follow-up candle with a lot of volume. So we'll have to look for that. You really want this to just slow down and then curve back up. That's one possibility. The other is that this volume does not stop. It actually just fully commits to being bearish. We'll then look for a lower low below 93, followed by a confirmed lower high. If this happens, we now have a even better trade scenario on our hands. Okay. So lower low, significantly below 93 support, retrace, structure forming lower high, followed by a confident short entry. Right, all of that would then give us a 10 out of 10 trade per my strategy for what I'm looking at. And then it would give us a pretty decent trade. So let's mark this up for about, we got, what is this, 160, and we're around 45 pip stops. So that gives us just over a 3.5 to 1 risk reward. Looking to get 160, again, risking about 45. And now we have a new trade scenario in our hands, right? I'm not going to get married to this original trade. It didn't play out. It's how it goes. So let's reanalyze and come up with a new scenario. And now we have it. Okay. So we did that on the fly. It's looking good. Looking promising. Need to see a little bit more. This could play out in the next, 8 to 16 hours. We'll have to see. But we'll check on this one and come back to it. Okay, so that's AJ. Let's move over to UJ. Same thing, guys. Daily time frame. Clear up the chart. What's going on? What's the overall trend? All right, let's zoom out here. So this is a little misleading because we know on the 4 hour that this is a humongous drop, right? Absolutely huge. The 4 hours bearish, naturally. We know that. But here on the daily, we've had so much volume, right? Where we started back here. This is the beginning of the rally in March. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And then this whole rally, right? No structure throughout this entire rally here to the higher high. And now it's pulling back right to 139 support, right? So this is higher low territory for the daily time frame. Now, like I said, we know the 4 hours bearish, but the daily is bullish. So this is interesting because now we know we have a key zone, a massive key zone right at 139. So we now need to drop down, get a closer look at that. Okay, overall still bullish on the daily, which is kind of wild to say, but that's what volume does, distorts charts. But here we are. So 137, this is the key zone, make or break for the dailies, for the daily time frame. And like we said, right, overall on the 4 hour, we're clearly bearish. We had a nice ascending triangle here. We broke the floor, just dumped to a lower low here, consolidated for a minute, came back up, formed structure, not the clearest, not the cleanest, but it formed structure, and then continued back down. So this is looking more like it could consolidate, like what we just saw back here. It could obviously consolidate for a while, give us some sort of like, I don't know, head and shoulders pattern where this looks like a left shoulder, this looks like a right shoulder. There's a lot that can happen. So we need to see more. In a perfect world, in an ideal scenario, I would like to see another retest of 140.5, maybe some wicks into 38.2, and actually get a closure below this zone with good rejection. That would be pretty nice for me to see. And then I would consider opportunities there. I would consider a short off of 140.5, looking to target 300 down towards 137. And then you're going to risk about 85 pips. And that still gives us a 3.5 to 1, roughly, risk reward, which is solid. Risking 1%, getting 3.5 back. I'll take that any day of the week. So waiting on that. It has to be clear. Obviously this could just dump right now. It could just continue to bounce. We need something clear in order to get into this trade here on UJ. All right, but obviously everything on the 4 hour still suggests very much bearish movement. Nothing on the chart says this is bullish yet, but we can entertain the idea as to what we'd like to see in order to consider this bullish, at least on the 4 hour. And that would be a break back above 140.5 and then a confirmed higher low. So what we didn't get here, where it broke above, failed to, push higher, just came right back. So that's what we'd like to see here, right? Some sort of higher low above. And then to us, it would say, all right, this is probably some sort of higher time frame retracement back up to 145. And then that would be our target. All right, let me just draw this in to give you guys a visual. Why not? All right, so we're looking to target about, geez, yeah, it's UJ, 400. And I'm not going to risk 280. We're going to risk somewhere in the 100 pip mark. Now, these numbers may scare you guys. It's like, wow, he's risking 100 pips. That's crazy. Or, he's going for 400. I don't focus on pips. I focus on percentages, right? Focus on how realistic the trade is, where my zones are. I'm not choosing some, daily zone and playing it off the 1 hour or some weekly zone and playing it off the 1 hour. These are actually pretty realistic zones, and I'm able to, trade this amount of pips or risk this amount because I'm always considering this in percentages, right? Where I'm always going to risk 2% on a trade, no matter what. In this scenario, I'm going to risk, 2% to get 4%. I mean, to get 8%, which is pretty wild. It's almost a challenge passer alone, right? So don't worry about the pips, guys. Don't focus on the pips. If you have good risk management, it's not going to really matter. It really all comes down to the proper risk management. You want the same fixed percentage per trade, and that's going to build consistency, right? This trade, one single trade should not make or break you. Right? You're doing something wrong if that's the case. Okay, regardless of the pips. All right. So there's UJ. Got some opportunity. Just need to see something play out. We're far from, either opportunity, so we'll keep an eye on this one. Not too high on the watch list, but we're aware of what's possible. So let's keep this moving. Let's jump over to EJ. This one's looking nice. I'm ready for this to drop. But let's start off on the daily. Clear up the drawing tools. And what are we doing on the daily, guys? Right, just assessing the overall trend. Right, so what has EJ been doing? We started off back here, back in mid-March with a nice rally to a higher high, followed by a higher low, higher high, higher low, prior high, or just another high rather, and then it reversed actually. So there's a trend change here. We took out this higher low, we got our first lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Then we broke this lower high, went back to bullish, and we've pretty much sustained that trend since then. So we have another higher high, higher low, higher high, and now we're at higher low territory again. Right, but we do know a key zone exists right at 144, and that's the make or break for the daily time frame. So let's go to the 4 hour. See what's going on this time frame. See what the 4 hours telling us. All right, so we have been consolidating at this high for a minute. In my opinion, it's due for a break, and it's looking very likely. Okay, so here was first consolidation at the high, closer to 148. Started pushing lower. I started getting some lows, some lower highs, some lows. Didn't really break anything yet because we're still above 144, but it's looking very likely. Look at all this consolidation resting right at 144. Right, we're seeing nice large bearish candles, good volume, and this could be our ticket right here. So ideally for us to go short on this, we need a lower high below 144. We're not going to jump the gun. You guys don't see me shorting it up here because this zone is still intact. We need to get below it. We need to see 144 act as resistance, not support. So very simply, that's going to look like a break of 144. We'll see a lower low, followed by a lower high, and then boom, we're in. Great trade opportunity. We're actually going to target all the way down towards 138, which is 550 pips. We're going to risk around 150. So same thing, guys. I'm risking 2% on this. So the lot size is going to be a little bit lower because it's a high stop loss, but I'm still risking 2%. And I'm looking to get, just over 7% back. So this is a 3.6 to 1, right? And this will slightly vary depending on where that price action confirmation comes in. Now, some of you guys may be saying this zone is a little far away or like, holy crap, 550 pips. But let me just zoom out a little bit and show you guys what we're looking at. There are minor zones in here, sure, whatever, but these are the higher time frame zones. And due to previous volume, it has created the distance between these two zones. So that's why there's a logical target, right? This isn't some weekly zone. This is just, regular daily zone, right? Trying to get back down to that area, and it's possible. So normally my trades are not targeting 550 pips. Happens occasionally, usually on JPY pairs, because they tend to move quite a bit, especially GJ. But yeah, there's a possibility. So this is one opportunity that's presenting itself, and we'll be ready if it does execute. So now that we've covered that bearish example, let's consider the opposite. Let's say we failed to break 144. Instead, we reject 144. It stays intact as support, and we start seeing price action move higher. Now, I probably wouldn't entertain, buying this, simply just because I don't like all this consolidation, and there is this, this minor zone here. So really, this might be our absolute target. But if you are an intraday trader or a scalper, even, you're going to want to drop down to the lower time frame, 1 hour, 30-minute, whatever. You could go even lower if you want. And all you're going to want to do is try to find the emergence of a bullish trend between these two zones. So in this range, you want to find a bullish trend, and then we're looking to enter on higher lows. Okay. So let me try and find an example. If I could grab a bar pattern, something like this, where it drops down, comes back up, gives us a higher low. All right. So something like this could be of interest to us. Okay, let me just copy this again. And this is just to highlight a trend for you guys, right? Where we're seeing this push up, we're seeing some higher lows, followed by higher high, higher low. So this is a 1 hour bullish trend, right? That could happen, and you could just get into an intraday trade. Okay, I personally have no interest in that. I just like swing trading. I don't really want to be, monitoring a trade all day long. Okay, but this is possible too. Just look for, 1 hour bullish trend, 30-minute bullish trend, and then trade between the zones. Okay, slightly more risky, but it's possible. Looking for similar things too. Right? All right, so that's EJ. Let me just undo that real quick. All right, that's EJ. Let's move over to gold now. And this one's looking all right. It's we got quite a bit of forecast going on, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's start off with the daily time frame, same method. And all we're doing is assessing the overall trend. So what's the daily doing? What's it been doing? Right, so we know that we've been bearish since the break of 1920. Sounds like a historical event, right? That break of 1920. Anyway, down toward the lower low.
Jesus,
right?
This is like Great fucking Depression.
Yeah, exactly. The break of 1920. Well, gold's in a bad spot, guys. It's not looking great. Obviously, it has been overall bearish, where we saw lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, right? Until recently, we have these huge daily bullish candles that broke through this lower high. So it's looking more bullish now, and we are in higher low territory. So really, we just need to see price action confirm a higher low, and then we're off on a bullish trend on the daily time frame. So let's go to the 4-hour now, get a closer look as to what this trend or this time frame is telling us, and then we can make better decisions as to what's possible for this week. All right, hold on one second. Let me get rid of this. Got a lot of stuff on the screen here. All right, there we go. All right, so we rallied to the high, just below 1800, which was kind of surprising. It reversed right around 1785. Right, so that was our higher high. Came back down. We do have a minor zone here, 1750, where price action's kind of struggling a bit, right? We're seeing a lot of dojis, a little bit of consolidation, right? To me, it looks like this could retrace quite a bit down towards 61.8. And look at this confluence area, right? We have 1675, which was the recent broken area. We have 61.8. This is a perfect area to target. Right down here. So this is what I'm targeting. And in order to get into these trades, I need to see pretty much conviction now, right? So some nice bearish variations. So an evening star, 3 strong bearish candlesticks in a row, nice engulfing, something with conviction. That would convince me then to enter short on this, target down towards 38.2 first, and ultimately down towards 61.8 and our 1675 zone. Okay, so this would be essentially trying to trade a retracement, right? As we're looking to, form structure in a much larger trend here. Right, so we're looking for this trade 1, trade 2. And notice, guys, these are always going to be pretty much on lower highs, right? So if we got rejection here, or, another pullback and a lower high over here. So that's what I'm looking at. Just looking for a trend to emerge, something convincing, something with decent volume and, clear price action. Then we could take this trade and start targeting lower, right? And this is about 670 pips away from 1675. So this is going to be a massive trade any way you cut it if it does play out this way, right? Just shy of a 5-to-1. So if you risk 1%, you're getting 5% back roughly. That's pretty wild. That's a big trade. Okay, so that's one possibility, is that we go for the retracement, the attempt to form structure. We're looking for that. The opposite is this just rallies now, right? It doesn't pull back. It's just going to rally, hit 1800, and then we'll have to reanalyze at that point. Okay, very likely as well. I mean, gold can be a wild card sometimes, but I'm suspecting that wherever this goes is going to be dependent on the dollar, right? Where if the dollar just suddenly starts melting, we're probably going to see this rally to 1800, right? Or vice versa. So we'll see. We'll see. So this will be a nice counter trend trade. Again, we got 670 pip target. So that's going to be wild. But notice here, guys, if we do pull back and we zoom out to the daily time frame, I'm going to show this to you guys because this is interesting. This is how you do time frame correlation, right? Where you can use multiple time frames to find, different trends present that you could capitalize on, right? So we're trying to capitalize on that 4-hour downtrend, looking to target towards 1675. And then once we get to this area, this is now daily higher low territory, right? You guys see that? How then, once we get to this zone, we'll look for reactions. Ideally, if we can confirm a higher low, then we could switch our position and start buying gold again. Okay. Let me try and clear this up a little bit more. I'm big on visuals, guys. If you got a cluttered chart, you're gonna have a cluttered mind. You know, if things are clear in front of you, visually pleasing to you, aesthetically to your liking, it's just gonna be better trading experience overall. So there's nothing wrong with having a good looking chart. Okay, make things clean. And there we go. Right, so that's much easier to see. Right, so we're looking to capitalize on this downtrend and then potentially higher low opportunity here on the daily. We'll be targeting it back up. So that's gold. Did a little bit more detail on this one, but yeah. So quick recap, guys. I covered DXY, AU, AJ, UJ, EJ, and gold. And just like I was showing earlier, guys, these are all posted in Discord and Telegram. You know, they're published here on TradingView, and they're like they're live charts. So you could open them up and play them forward through the week, and they'll stay here forever as long as they're, you know, public. But it's a good tool to use, guys. If you want a little reference, or maybe you get lost on a certain pair and you remember that Angelo or myself covered one, you know, use the tool. It's completely free. That's why we do these sessions. You know, just the more we can help, the better. So that's about it. I'm going to pass off to Angelo. We're going to go over some updates and, you know, giveaways, and there's a lot to cover. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the analysis. You know, thank you, guys.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to share my phone screen and do some charts.
All right, let's give it a shot. See what happens.
Yeah, let's see if I can do it. So I saw a few people asking how you can participate in the giveaway. All you need to do, post on your IG story, you on the session, just post your screen, tag the funded trader, tag Forex League. At the end of the call, I will go through and then pick one winner. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen.
Right, I'm going through chat now, guys. I'll try to answer you best I can.
Let me know if you could see.
Yep. Good to go.
Okay,
DXY.
cool. We got DXY. All right, so we're gonna start. I apologize, guys. I got stuck in the Tesla. I'm at a charging station right now, so we're just gonna run this through on the phone because I've got it all marked up anyway. I just logged into my account. So we're gonna look at DXY first. Looking at how last week played out. Let me go ahead and see if I can get my arrow tool. Bear with me, guys. All right, so looking at DXY, obviously we're still at the support level. If you came on last week, you know we were monitoring this 104, 105 area as support. If you did not come on the session last week, if I just zoom out a little bit, you can basically see here we've got some resistance right in this area. We've got some support in this area. If I were to zoom out even more, we would be able to see this is just an area where price has reacted with a lot of volatility. This is a bit minor, this resistance here, but in this area, this was definitely a more major level of support that was formed. And this is also just structure, this higher high, this higher low, this higher high, this higher low. So we have now pulled back to retest this previous higher low. This previous resistance now turned support. And then zooming in a little bit into what price action's actually doing here, we can see that 2 weeks ago we had this reversal candle, so we had a long wick to the bottom, not exactly a spinning top, but definitely some sort of reversal happening on the lower time frames. And then last week we had another like indecisive candle here. This is showing that sellers did manage to step in after this previous pause in the markets and actually close lower. So if we were to go take this off, if we were to actually go down, because remember this is all the way on the weekly time frame. If we were to actually start to go down here, so let's see what we can come up with. Let's go to the 4 hour. Let's just go ahead and zoom out a little bit. So looking at the 4 hour time frame, how we forecasted it last week, let me just bring this on, is we had obviously in a downtrend on the 4-hour time frame. Last week we were forming this like parallel channel here. We had 2 highs, we had 2 lows. This is normally a continuational pattern. Ended up pulling up to just some random resistance level and then pushing to the downside. Really, there's nothing stopping DXY from continuing to move into this 105, 104 area according to technicals. We can just go ahead. We're going to take this off. We're going to take this off as well. So as you can see, last week I was, bring this back on. Last week I was basically just playing out this scenario where price just moves down into the support level. Did have this little pulse up, but as you see, we are moving down now into this area. So I do believe DXY is going to hit resistance either in 106, either this previous support right here, or we have another resistance level at 107, or we have this most recent supply zone all the way at 107, 800. So we'll see which area it ends up finding. As you can see at the moment, it's in a bit of a surge to the upside. But again, I believe DXY is going to reverse. It's going to continue into the 105 area. But we always go over DXY first because we have to understand the direction of the dollar before we start to look at any of these other pairs. So let's take this off. Let's go over and start to look at some of the other pairs now. I'm going to look at NAS 100 a bit later on. We're going to start off with GBP USD. So last week, just reiterating what we went over, we had this head and shoulders pattern. We were saying if it broke the neckline, so let's bring on this arrow here. So we were saying that if we broke this neckline right here, we were going to look for a retest and then short it. Never broke, found support. So this is the area we were looking to monitor. Never broke, found support right at the neckline. Then it moved up. Now it's up into our resistance zone. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and clear this off. Clear this off. Now let's go back up to the weekly time frame. And let's just go ahead. Here we go. All right, so we want to remember where we're at all the way on the weekly time frame. We are in a downtrend, right? Overall, we're in a downtrend. We've been in a downtrend for a considerable amount of time since February of 2022, so almost a full year. We broke this support level, made a new low, retesting this 1.05 area, which was a serious level of support down here. Now we're on the reversal. We pushed all the way back up to retest this supply zone right here. So this previous lower high point. We also have resistance here. If I were to scroll back, I don't know, visually it's going to be good. We could see here, this was a previous major support level, even looking further left, major support all along this area. Let's go back to where we were. So what are we thinking right now? If we're looking at GU, we're thinking that we're at a supply zone, we're in a downtrend, we're at a potential area of resistance, right? We're waiting for the reversal. The biggest move here could be this thing reversing and coming back to the downside. And as we were just looking at DXY, that's why it's important to look at DXY. We were just talking about DXY continuing to dump to the downside, right? If DXY is going to continue to be weak, if the dollar is going to continue to be weak, that means GU will continue to be bullish and it will continue to move up. So that's something that we should monitor. How does the dollar play out this week? Like Nick said, NFP, there's a bunch of news events. If you guys are in the TFT Discord, there's go to the trading news channel. There's all the news for the week, at least all the red folders in there, so you guys get a sense of it. There's a lot of events going on this week, a lot of red folders. So potentially a lot of volatility. I know a lot of people have kind of been complaining about the volatility because last week was really like nothing because of Thanksgiving. I think this week we're going to get a bit more movement now that people are going to be back in the offices, back to work. So we'll see. But if the dollar continues to dump, GU is just going to keep floating up. It's just going to keep floating to the upside. We have this resistance level, we have this resistance level all the way at 1256 or 126. And then we have all the way up here this trend line, this like overarching trend. We can just go ahead and extend it. So will it float all the way up to this area? Probably not. Could it potentially just float up and start to wick, this support level? Most likely what's going to happen. So my idea is, again, for GU to find resistance, move to the downside. But there's just no, when I come down to here, I always try to give you guys some ideas for the week, some actual trade ideas to take action on. But as you can see, there's not much. Like, I'm just going to delete this. If anything, if you guys wanted to take a trade, the trade to take would be basically this support level that's holding. This isn't an uptrend on the 4-hour. This would just be a counter trend to the weekly, which is why I personally don't want to take this trade. But this is lining up with DXY, with the support level, with the previous high. So if you guys are more bullish on GU, if you're bearish on the dollar, then you should take this trade, take this buy right here in this area. But I were to bring on some tools, like, I don't know if I can bring on, let's see if we can bring on a fib tool. We'll bring on a fib tool. So as we can see, this is currently lining up. Let's bring an arrow back on. This is lining up. We got 38.2. Let's just scroll over. We got 38.2 right here. We've got the previous high point. If we look to the left, so this is definitely an area, buy area. This is where you'd be looking to take a trade. Personally, I'm not taking a trade here, so let's just move on. Let's go over to UCAD. Next pair we're going to cover. Let's do a recap of last week, what happened. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to bump up to the weekly time frame first. Let's go ahead and just clear some of this stuff up from last week. We're still going to talk about our idea from last week, but I just want to clean this up so we can see what's going on here. All right, so weekly time frame on the dollar, we can clearly see we hit our resistance level at the top. Let's go ahead and bring on. We hit our resistance level up here at 138, bearish engulfing, push down. Now my next major resistance level is at 1295. So I'm really looking to take trades into that level. This is a bit of a counter trend trade. This is overall bullish, right? This thing rocketed to the upside. This is a potential higher low. This really is a potential higher low. I personally would like to look for it more in this area. Now that we're forming support here, maybe like a double bottom in this area before actually trying to swing trade like a buy. But this is definitely finding some support at this level. Don't necessarily know why. According to technicals, we'd have to scroll back a little bit more, but it just hasn't hit this previous high point yet, which normally it does. So coming down to the 4-hour, let's just take a look at what's going on down here. So we've got a lot of movement early in the session right now. Let's just go ahead and bring a little bit more onto the charts. All right, so 4-hour time frame, clearly this thing is in a downtrend right now. So we broke support over here. Boom, we retested it, broke support here. We retested it, and now we're starting to see a reversal, right? We're starting to see this reversal. We had a potential head and shoulders pattern right here that now has broken down. So this thing is just moving to the upside now. So what are we going to do with this, right? Am I going to just take a buy right now and just close my eyes and wait for this thing to, move up into 138? No, that's definitely not the move. If you guys are currently thinking of doing that, I would highly recommend to reconsider. What I would do would be something like this. You got price coming up here. It's retesting this high point. I would wait for price to break this high. We'll bring out another. You know what? Let's see if we can get a better tool here. I'm getting some exercise in trading view.
Mobile trading.
Trading
Yeah.
view mobile. It's pretty solid, like for what it is.
Yeah, it came a long way.
It
Definitely.
definitely came away.
Like on a tablet, you could get some work done.
Here we go.
For sure.
All right, so we're gonna just map out a bit of a trade path here. So for those that have been on these sessions before, you guys know that if there's not a trade that's right there that's lining up, you know, all I'm really doing is forecasting. So I'm always just forecasting new ideas. Because if there's not a trade there, we're not going to force it. That's just how it goes. You never want to force trades. So when would I actually take a buy? Right? I'd be waiting for a break of this resistance. So right now we're currently testing that level. And then wait for a retest of this previous high point. Always enter on the higher lows. And then I'd enter in this area, anywhere in this area, right? And then I'd be trying to ride this up back into this major level of resistance. For me, you know, I always know that price is going to have a reaction in these red zones, or it's very likely that it's going to have a reaction in these red zones. When we're in the middle of these zones, it's anyone's game, right? We're always just trying to trade with the higher time frame trend. As we went on the weekly's bullish. So if this thing starts to break into a bullish trend on the 4-hour, we definitely want to hop in and then just use this as our target all the way up here. So that's going to be, and this also does line up with the dollar being bearish as well. If we want if we think the dollar is going to continue to be bearish, then this would line up with the dollar too. So let's go ahead. Let's go over to NCD USD. This is actually a trade, like a pair that we can get into a potential trade for this week. So let's hop up to the weekly. Let's go ahead and see where the hell we're at. Remember, according to my strategy, guys, like I'm always looking for the weekly and the 4-hour time frame to line up. I don't go on the daily that much. I don't go on the 1-hour that much. I'm truly just trying to swing trade on the daily and on the 4-hour and on the weekly time frames. As we can see on here, we're just in a downtrend, right? We broke support, retested as resistance, broke support. Now we're just back in this area. We had mapped out this red zone and it was not respected, right? So this was a previous era support and resistance that was very well respected. Ton of buyers came in at this area. So, you know, what does this lead me to believe? There's definitely a lot of buyers in here. This thing's been bullish since October. So this thing's been bullish, you know, about a month now, almost 2 months. Let's see, it's beginning of October. So almost 2 months now, it's been bullish. You know, buyers have been stepping in. Is overall in this bearish trend, which is why last week, if we come down to the 4-hour, we just do a little bit of a zoom out. This is what we were kind of looking for last week. Let's go ahead and get this on here. I was looking for this transition, right? We're currently in an uptrend. Clearly, this thing's been trending to the upside. Now I'm waiting to see, is price gonna find resistance up here, lose steam, hit that weekly resistance level, and start to reverse to the downside when I would then start to get in on this trade. Trend here is still bullish, right? So trend here is just still extremely bullish. If I was just gonna trade this based on the actual trend, we just zoom in a little bit more. There we go. If I was just going to trend trade this and say weekly time frame, not going to worry about counter trend trading, I'm just going to try to get in on a trade. This would actually be the area to take a buy, retest of resistance, if we bring on fibs, this is a fib level here as well. This would be the perfect area to buy at, right? Retest right here, wait for rejection, and then start to swing trade this to the next extension, to the next upper level. Again, I'm not trying to counter trend trade on the weekly time frame. Just not what I'm trying to do. I'm more trying to trade this thing to the downside. Now, like we said, if the dollar is going to continue to be bearish, it's going to continue to move to the downside, and you most likely will push up, then it would make a lot of sense for us to take buys on this. That's your confirmation, right? If you want to counter trend the weekly, that's your confirmation right there that the dollar is going to be bearish. NZD is going to be stronger than the dollar. Again, personally, I'm just not going to counter trend the weekly, counter trade the weekly time frame. So you could take buys here if you want. I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait, continue to see how this thing does play out and move to the downside. So again, just forecasting an idea. If you guys are not forecasting ideas, I would definitely recommend to start this because again, you shouldn't be forcing any trades. So let's go to another pair here. Let's go over to GJ. Let's go ahead and zoom out, go up to the weekly. And let's actually get some of this into focus here. So GJ on the weekly time frame is in an uptrend. It's been in an uptrend. If we just look left, let's go ahead and bring some more of this on. So it's been in an uptrend for a little while now. Back in February, like about a year ago, broke resistance, retested a support, had this huge retest down here. Now we broke above resistance here. And you can see that we have a bit of a retest where we form this bullish engulfing. So this is like a perfect example of weekly's bullish. We just formed a higher low. 4-hour time frame broke into a bullish trend. So let's see if we can get a couple time frames, weekly and 4-hour, to line up here. All right, so here we go. So let's just recap like last week. What were we kind of thinking on this one? So you can see last week there was 2 general ideas. It was basically retest of support, look for a buy, swing trade from there. Price never did actually reach this level. It actually just found support right here and just moved to the upside. So this is actually interesting. Let's clear all this up. Because remember, I want to get the weekly time frame and the 4-hour time frame to line up. And what we're starting to see right now is we're actually starting to see a bit of a break. So we're starting to see a bit of a break of support right there, which is the reason why I want to bring this up is relevant is because, again, weekly, 4-hour, we want these to line up. Well, this thing is starting to actually break trend on the 4-hour time frame, which would mean this could potentially actually be, let's see if we could use this tool. This could actually be a sell. So we have a sell on GJ that's lining up. This thing's starting to break down. We are very close back to this liquidity zone, which price most likely will come back into. Let's go ahead and map this out. So this is going to be a potential trade idea for the week, waiting for the retest. We'll target back into this zone. So we've got a nice target down there. Stops, we can be either very conservative. Oh, let's see if we can get this. Either very conservative, have a 2-to-1, or we can see how the rejection is, end up having like a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio right there. But GJ, this is the potential trade for the week, even though, again, going back up to the weekly, we are looking for this thing to continue to the upside. This is a counter trend trade, so definitely lowers the probability of it being successful. But at the same time, looking at how this is forming on the weekly time frame, sellers are stepping in. We have that liquidity zone down below that we ultimately want to look for reversals at. So this is definitely a decent trade idea for the week. GJ giving us one. Let's go to NAS 100 next. So I personally was trying to just continue to short NAS 100, ended up going into some profit, ended up going almost about 1-to-1 on what the trade was. Pretty sure we just took this trade on last week's call. And then as you guys can see, price just came up and ended up coming right back into that red zone. So what is that zone coming up to the weekly time frame? You know, why is this zone relevant? This is why it's always just good to zoom out. NAS 100 bearish, right? It's been bearish all the way. We did have this huge bullish engulfing that just happened right here. But we're hitting this resistance zone. Look at previously, support right here, right? Huge rejection off that level. If we were to go back even further, we can't zoom in on it, but right here is also huge resistance. Look at the rejection once, twice, and then support off of that zone. So this is definitely a very relevant area that we should be looking for reversals. And look how price action is forming here. Pretty much like a doji, pretty much like a doji. Those are obviously reversal candles. So price is starting to break down at this area. Granted, you know, a lot of people are saying that NAS 100 is bullish. You know, I'm just trading or trying to forecast this based on technicals right now. Is there the potential that it just blows through this resistance zone like it did over here and just pushes to the upside? Sure, but let's let it get above there and retest, similar to what it did here. How it broke above the resistance, retest, it closed, and then it pushed. Let's be a little bit patient on this one. And in the meantime, let's come to the 4-hour. And let's just see if we can get any potential trade ideas. So looking at, again, last week, you know, this thing was just moving to the downside after this huge rally, right? And then now we pulsed back into the liquidity zone, grab liquidity, and now sellers are stepping in. So what should we do here? There's no real clean trend right now. I mean, we could always bring on like a channel. So I'm going to show you where I want to draw this. We have this channel. It's not the cleanest thing in the world, but we have this channel forming to the downside, pulsed out of it. You know, now what should we do on this? Personally, I don't have a trade idea. Don't have a trade idea on NAS 100 right now. You know, should I sell this? Should I buy this? I wouldn't buy unless something like this actually happened, where price again comes above this red zone. We then confirm that we're going to hold above this area, right? I would not personally take a buy unless we're up in this area. So that should mean that anything below the red zone, you know, if I'm not trying to buy, I realistically should be trying to look for sells. So when would I actually look for a sell? If price comes back up into the supply zone, forms a double top, this is actually when I would start to look for sells. This would be re-entry zones. So yeah, this is not NAS 100. No immediate trade. So just forecasting an idea on that. We always normally end it off with BTC, but we're not going to get that clean of view on BTC right now because we're on mobile. So I'll see if I could just zoom out. We'll delete this thing for now. There's been really no movement with BTC at least for the last 2 weeks. Obviously, there was that huge impulse down where it lost like 25%. So next target BTC is just 10K, between 10K and 12K. There's really nothing stopping it from moving to the downside unless it just miraculously reverses. Don't see that happening though. So yeah, pretty much just get ready. BTC to the downside. So like Nick was saying, when he passed it off to me, I want to do some announcements. We're pretty much going to wrap up the analysis portion of the session. That's everything that I wanted to go over. Do apologize to you guys that I'm stuck in the Tesla right now because I had to charge it because thing was about to fucking die on me. I didn't want to get towed. But yeah, was able to just go through everything on here. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Honestly, best mobile analysis I've ever seen.
Dude, right?
Seriously though. You made it work, bro. You made it work. Never doubted.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, that was good. Very,
Let's see.
very, Steven.
We've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
You need a certain level of skill to make that work.
dude, right? Like I was like, at one point I couldn't log into my account, and then it was all the colors were fucked up, and I'm like, oh my god.
Right. Yeah, I was impressed you got in. All the stuff was saved. That was well played.
Trading view with the upgrades. All right, so what we're gonna do. Yeah, this was definitely a bit hard. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna talk about the giveaways that are going on with TFT. I'm gonna go ahead and actually share the TFT Discord. Oh, let me see if I can. Let me know if you could see my Discord in 1 second.
Yep. Yep, you're good.
You're good. All right, guys. So giveaway reminder: Tesla, $20,000 cash. I'm currently in the Tesla. I'm testing it out for you guys. Hopefully, I don't crash this thing before we give it away. All you got to do is press this link. Let's see if I'll press it right now. Go to the angelo.clickfunnels. You got the video here, explains how to get in. You got to just submit the winner of the World Cup. That's part 1. Everyone that submits the winner correct is then going to get put in a trading competition. And whoever wins the trading competition is going to win the Tesla plus the $20,000 cash. So come to the site, press join tournament, put in your information, enter the giveaway. You can enter before December 12th. So if you guys want to wait, I know some people were complaining about the World Cup started already and blah, blah, blah. If you want to wait till December 11th, wait till people get eliminated, teams get eliminated, go ahead. That's all strategy on your end.
Yeah, it's
So
a
that's
bold strategy.
like that's like people complain. It's like, yo, then just wait. Like, do your thing. That's it.
Yeah.
And then we've got 2 promotions going on right now. So first promotion, I think that one's actually posted. Let's go and we'll talk about this one first. So this one's 15% off, 90% payouts, lifetime payouts, 125% refund, use TFT Black Friday. This one ends December 1st. I'm pretty sure that is either Thursday night or Friday night. So make sure to use that one.
Yeah, that's
And then
Thursday.
I believe it's Thursday. And then we've got this one, which is receive 15% profits made during the challenge phase 1 and 2, 7.5% off, plus 110% refund. So this is obviously a huge promotion. If you guys don't know what's going on with this, just come into here, look at the example, read the terms, use code Dragon Slayer, and that's pretty much it. So those are the promotions we have going on. Those are the giveaways that we have going on. Make sure to stay updated in the Discord for the week. And again, anybody that posts on their story, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pick the winner after this. Thanks for hopping on, guys. Another Sunday Market Blitz, another week ahead of us. We'll see who ends up top of the leaderboard this week. We'll see what happens.
That's right. Good luck, guys. You heard it here live from the Tesla. So good luck on the giveaways and this week trading and everything, guys. Take care.
That's it. Yeah, enjoy the week, everybody. Later.